Hi, Michael Hibner here. Today I'm going to show you how to change a tire or a tube on HiBoy MaxPro. So I bought this wonderful scooter, HiBoy MaxPro, and this is the second time I got a flat tire. And unfortunately here in San Diego, there are no places where they can change the tire for me. So to do this job, you will need a fairly basic set of tools from Amazon, with the exception that you need a big wrench to unscrew the wheel. Yes, you have to completely remove the wheel in order to change the tube and the tire. There's no other way of doing it. And what is also helpful is an electric screwdriver. It just speeds up the process. You need to position the scooter like so. I do it on our balcony here in San Diego, where the scooter sits like this with the wheel hanging down in the back, the wheel that you're changing. And you're going to start with removing those stickers here. Like I said, I've previously changed the wheel, so this can be easily removed because I reapplied the same stickers. But if you're doing it for the first time, you may want to use the hair dryer to loosen up those stickers. And here there's a sticker on the other side, because you will need to unscrew those screws here on both sides to get to the main nut that holds the wheel. You're also going to disassemble the brake here in order to remove the wheel. And another thing you need to do is to remove those screws around here, because the wheel, the rear wheel, has a motor built in, and there's an electrical wire that runs through here, and it connects inside underneath this, underneath here, and you have to also disconnect that electrical wiring. So I'm going to start with unscrewing those screws here on top. I have my electric screwdriver, and it needs a 2.5 bit to Allen wrench to unscrew this this part here. Here we go. There's a lot of screws in here. Of course, you don't need an electric screwdriver, but it will take forever to do it without. Here you see the screws have been removed, so this is going to come out now. And here you see the electrical connections. Normally if you do it for the first time, it looks a little bit better protected, but like I said, about 2 months ago I had to do it already. So this will need to be disconnected here in order to remove actually they all will need to be disconnected in order to remove the wheel in the back. Okay, so now the next step is to unscrew those, because this will give us access to the big nut right here, to the axle that holds the wheel. And then the next step will be to disassemble the brake right here. So this is the 4.0 Allen wrench, and we're removing that cover that covers the big nut that holds the axle. Again, we have to do it on both sides. And here what you see, that this has the big nut here holding the axle. And now we need to do the same on this side. Here we go. Perfect. Now we set those aside. The next step will be to disassemble the brake here. So for this I'm using a 5/16 bit on this. So here you have to remove both of those nuts here in order to release this cable out of the brake lever. So in order to do that, you have to hold the brake line so it doesn't all spin when you're taking it off. And here you can, in this case I can do it with my hand, but sometimes you need to use the handle. The first nut is removed, and now this one I can just do with my hand. So here this is removed, and that brake assembly here, it's free. And now the wheel, we're not ready to remove the wheel yet, because now we have to disconnect the electrical connection. I know this is the part I was worried about the most when I was taking it apart for the first time, but it actually is not as hard as it looks like. Okay, so now we're going to cut this heat shrink tubing. It is again something I applied last time I was repairing it. Normally I think this is protected differently, and especially if you're in the place where it rains and where it's wet, you need to put it back when you're assembling it back together. Okay, so this is done. We can disconnect it. It actually disconnects fairly easy. I remember I was worried the first time I was doing it, but that's fairly easy. And now we need to disconnect this. So the first three was the electricity that goes to the motor. That's why those wires are thicker. And then this is just the control that controls the speed and the direction. Now there is a little zip tie here that holds this together to make sure it doesn't come undone when you're riding. So here you press on this, comes out, and now our connector is free. Here there is a little rubber seal that seals that electrical compartment, the battery, from the water coming in. So now we'll have to pull this wire through. We're not ready to do that yet, because the next step would be to unscrew the big nuts on the wheel here. Okay, so we're back to the wheel. The brake is disconnected, the electricity is disconnected, and now we need to take out the whole wheel. The whole wheel needs to come out completely in order to change the tube. So here we go, lefty loosey, and this nut is off. We're going to do the same on the other side. So now we need to take those little metal U-shaped thingies. I don't know what they're called, but this is what holds the wheel in. There's one on each side. One last thing that I forgot to do, the electrical wire here goes to the wheel on the right side, right here. So when I put it back together last time I was doing it, this is the right side of the scooter. I put little zip ties here to hold it in place. So that wire, you need to cut those zip ties, they will need to be replaced. Okay, and once those zip ties are free, the electrical, you see there is the wire that goes to the wheel that provides the power. So that needs to be pulled in all the way. That needs to go all the way in. So again, here I am pulling that power supply cables that go to the wheel. Okay, here we are. So the wheel is completely free now. The wheel is completely free now, and here we go. It easily comes out, and here we have separated the wheel. So this model of HiBoy MaxPro has this ingenious thing where you unscrew this part of the wheel here in order to change the tire. Otherwise it would be very, very difficult to remove such a small tire of the wheel. So you can unscrew those screws here. So here I removed this rim here that holds the tire inside right here. So this was again like that, actually like this, and I remove it in order to be able to remove the tire. So now removing the tire is fairly easy. And here we can get to our tube and change the tube. Here I remove the tire and the tube easily comes out right here. It is a 10 by 250 tube. Okay, so I have a new tube here. It is easier to get a tube with the longer inflation valve here. It fits better in the type of a wheel that HiBoy MaxPro has. I also got something new. I got a tube liner, the slime tube liner that I don't know if this will make any difference, but this is the second flat tire I have in slightly over a month. So I have never installed it before. So I will insert that into the tire itself and just to see if this will prevent any no punctures. So this is the tire and this is the slime liner that I'm going to put inside. So the tube is going to go into here. Okay, so as you see, the tube is on, and the tube and the tire is on, and I put that liner, the slime liner. So now we have to replace this side here of the rim that made the change of the tire so easy. Otherwise, I think it may have been completely impossible, and I would have to take the actual tire to the tire place. So okay. So those are perfectly aligned right now, and now we'll start putting back those screws that hold the side of the rim to put those back in. Remember to tighten it with your hand after you use electric screwdriver. At least this one is not powerful enough to take it all the way down. So here we're going to inflate this wheel to 35 psi. Perfect. And in this case, unlike in the bicycle where you usually don't inflate the tube entire before putting it back on, here you can do that because that's not in the way. So not in the way of reassembling it. So we are ready to reassemble the wheel. Remember, this is one of the more difficult parts of what we're doing here, is to thread this wire back through the battery compartment. What I used last time, I may use it now also, is a coat hanger that are made into a little hook, and then when you put it on this side, you may be able to retrieve that wire to pull it through. So here I'm going to hook this, but before we put the wheel completely back on, we need to put this brake assembly here back on the right side, like so. And now we can keep on pulling this wire until it shows up here. Perfect. So we got this here, and now the brake assembly, there's like a little divot there where it needs to go in, and the wheel is almost back in place, like so and so. Perfect. Perfect. So now use those to hold it in place. And now the wheel is not going to fall off. It can just stay there until you screw it in. Now we take the big nuts here. And of course we tighten it with a wrench. So the brake goes back in here, like so. Okay, so the spring goes on here. Okay, so this is in. Now we need to screw in that first bigger screw. And this is the one that will adjust the brakes. So as you see, the wheel spins freely. We can adjust the brakes later when this is all put back together. That seems to be actually right, so I'll leave it for now. Just put that smaller screw. Here, when you're putting that smaller, the back screw on, you need to hold on to the actual brake line, otherwise it will spin. High current wires, and then we are going to put just some tape over the control. So now we're going to apply some heat to shrink those a little. Now here we have little cable ties, 4-inch cable ties, very thin. So when we put that electric connector together, we can put it here through to make sure it doesn't come loose as we're riding. Okay, so those covers are going back on. So the very last thing to do is to put that cover on, and then we're done. As you see, you don't really need any special tools to change the tube on HiBoy MaxPro, and you don't really need any special skills. I'm not any engineer or anything technical. I'm only a gynecologist, so even a gynecologist can change the tube on the HiBoy and go for a wonderful ride in San Diego and Coronado.